When my son was around about 2 to 3 years old, we had noticed odd behaviours that he was doing that we thought weren't quite right for his age. At that time, I'd had experience working in early childhood kindergarten and had worked with a child with autism. So my experience for that year of working with that child with autism helped me understand the types of behaviours and why children with autism behave in certain ways. So that helped me seek help and referrals and assessments for my son, which then led to him being diagnosed on the autistic spectrum disorder. My husband and I had phoned around services in regards to what their timelines and for getting an assessment were, talking to community and friends about, if they've had children with developmental difficulties and what channels did they go through and which doctors did they use. We were recommended a doctor, a paediatrician, and after that, that's when things got going and the referral to the psychologist happened, which then led to him being diagnosed on the autistic spectrum disorder. While all the assessments and doctor appointments were happening, we were able to link our son into speech therapy and occupational therapist. So keep maintaining and working with those services while we're still waiting. For myself, I had little knowledge and experience, but that was based on working with that child at the kindergarten when I was younger. But my family, my husband, my children had less knowledge, I suppose. We've had no family members with autism or friends before. My mother and her sisters were very involved in early childhood education and child development, so they were good to talk to, and they had an understanding of autism. And it was just educating and finding out more information about it to talk to the rest of the family, but also it was a sensitive issue, and I had to talk to each family member different, as the children were 10 and 5, and for my husband and for his cousins as well. It was coming to terms with it, not believing it. For me, I'd accepted it, and now we wouldn't have our son any other way. So I suppose it was just coming to terms with it and accepting that there may be some things that he won't be able to do or handle. We're very family sport orientated. We've played sports since we were little, and even to this day play sports. To get our son into a basketball team or football team is very hard, as he doesn't like the texture of the tops or the basketball shorts that he wears. It's difficult getting him into the car and to the stadium. If he knows that he's going there, he won't. It's very difficult to get him involved. So one of the things that we've talked to him about is to play baseball. The structure of the sport is you line up and hit the ball and run to first place, second, third. So we think for him dealing with autism, that would be a good sport to start him in. One of the other things that my son has to know is the ins and outs of where we are going, what will happen there, who will be there, how big will the guys that are there be, how long does it go for. So it's talking in detail to him and letting the family know and the other children know that they have to give him specific details of what's happening, just to ease the stress of it and get him involved. After our son was diagnosed with autism, we were then referred on to Autism Victoria, and through their autism advisors, they had advised us of the early days workshops. For me, it was attending the early days workshop, getting as much information as I could, meeting other parents. I was reassured that I was on the right track to, seeking out those early intervention services, and I felt I was able to offer other parents, my story and help them go towards the right services to get for their children. And what I thought was good about the early days workshop, it's very family orientated, so you were able to take your parents, your brothers and sisters, aunties and uncles. So that was good, as it was very family orientated. The parents that attended, you had this room full of personal knowledge and experiences, and they were able to share their stories. Everyone was able to respect each other's journey and story. There was a deep listening, and the facilitators were able to, give information, answer questions, and I found good was just meeting and being able to talk about, your journey and sharing that with other people. Social networks is a big thing for Aboriginal people. So for my son, you can see he really struggled and was challenged in situations when families come together, and some of the cultural issues that I found that challenges my son, while he's dealing with having autism. In the kindergarten, they would have cultural programs of singing and dancing, and that's kind of stopped him by putting the paint on his face. He doesn't like the paint on his face, and the loud noises of the clapsticks. So that's been one of the issues that I think we've been able to work on. He's quite comfortable now handling clapsticks and playing them, and I know that he looks forward to, when he sees a didgeridoo, he likes to go up and pretend to play it. I'm an artist myself, and I found painting with my son was difficult, as he loved it, but the paint texture on his hands, he couldn't quite sit there for long periods of time with me, but over time we've been able to work with that. So these are major things that he's overcome. The doctor had said, just challenge him, keep challenging. So I think with, as a strong family, you just keep persisting with things. One great option that the early days workshops offer to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people that are living regional across Australia is that they offer the workshops within their towns. Might be appropriate to have them at their childcare services or a town hall that they feel culturally safe at. It means the whole family comes to attend those workshops, nan, pop, aunties, uncles, and where as a family they will deal with their issues and coming to terms with their children with autism. The whole family gets to hear firsthand of the information and the questions and the answers, instead of just one member attending and taking home all that information. It could be mixed messages, so it's good that the whole family have the opportunity to attend. For parents and families that don't know too much about autism, I think that's a great way to start off, to just get some more information, attending the early days workshop, as it's done in a sensitive way. You're quite comfortable to ask questions. Everybody's at different stages, and listening to other people's journey and how their children are going really inspired me, and I would definitely recommend that other parents who have questions to ask and want more information about their children with autism definitely attend.